Hey, what's up guys, Books Nelson here with another video. Today we'll be talking about Dark Matter Khris Middleton, breaking the card down and showing you what he can do, and so you guys can make a good decision on whether or not he belongs in your squad. So let's get right into the content. So first things first, I'm going to start with the weaknesses. Khris Middleton has a lot going for him, and there are only two things, in my opinion, that keep him from being at the very top of the heap at his position. When I say very top of the heap, in my opinion, it's Glenn Rice, then Dr. J, Ron Artest, and then a couple of cards that are close in that area behind there. I think Khris Middleton is in that close area, not quite to the level of Dr. J and Ron Artest, and nobody's Glenn Rice, right? Glenn Rice is the top of the heap. But the thing about Dr. J and Ron Artest is those are both gambling cards, and if you didn't get lucky, that you're talking at the Khris Middletons in the world. Does Khris Middleton fit on your team in that group? So let's discuss what those weaknesses are right at the beginning. So Khris Middleton does not have the kind of shot base that allows you to be an absolutely elite creator off the dribble. That having been said, he's got the tray fade, and it's very quick, very usable with his, off the dribble shots. So he is a good off the dribble shot creator. And this is going to be a running theme with Khris. He has a lot of strengths all over the place. Even his weaknesses, they're not weaknesses. It's just more that he's not elite at it, right? So even with this, you can get that shot off. It is fast enough to get off, but it's just not to the point of the elite cards in the game, right? That's the main thing. The other weakness we will get to when we talk about the dribbling six, but let's look at more of the shooting. So we know he has tray fade, right? We'll get on that. This is Hall of Fame difficulty, and so if I'm making the fade while I'm talking to you guys, it's a pretty easy fade to hit, right? The other thing he has going for him is this normal hop jumper. Love this normal hop jumper, great going in every direction. Basically, you have a short hop, you have a long hop, and you can go to the basket and stop on a dime if you want to, as long as you don't trigger it too close to the basket like I did right there. But yeah, you can stop on a dime, boom, get that short hop backwards. So yeah, he off the dribble, he's very, very good in every area except this Jamal Murray, right? If he's using this Jamal Murray, it's a bit of a load up on that Jamal Murray. And that is the difference these days with a lot of these cards. Now, if you don't do that, that's a big difference, right? If you never do this move, then Khris Middleton moves further up on your personal depth chart. Let's talk about the SIGs. So Michael Jordan dribble style and De'Aaron Fox size up, right? So let's talk about both of these things in combination. So if you're a fan of this channel and you've been following me, you already know Michael Jordan dribble style, 3 push crosses, right? Forward push cross. You've got the same push cross basically, but more to the side. And you can see on the screen as I trigger them. And then you've got his version of the Devin Booker push cross, which is a little slower, but still useful, right? It's particularly useful, as we'll see with the size up, because it'll cancel out of size ups and speed up a little bit when you're using it off of size up dribbles, depending on which size up you use, right? But that having been said, the push cross is the direction you're going to be going most of the way. So this De'Aaron Fox size up is a very interesting size up. So this is the most popular size up in my career because it's used for every character 6'5" and above. Right, between 6'5" and as long as you can get a high ball handle, you're trying to get this size up, right? This is the number. So, while the highest ranked one is Steve Francis, this is the most popular one because most people don't go for 95 ball handle, right? So that having been said, why is it so popular? Well, first things first, it's very quick size up. And you see here, he's got these kind of built-in hesitations, this built-in little hop in his size up. This is just me. You can see on screen, I'm just tapping the stick. And if you tap the stick in different rhythm and pacings, you'll get different combos when you do this stuff, right? And a very important thing is this behind the back. And we'll talk about that more later. So this size up, what I like about the size up, if you look at the between the legs, you see how he ducks down right there? This is a great sell on your opponent if they're playing on-ball defense. Because that duck down, when you're doing combos, and you get into this little duck down, it really looks like he's stopping for a moment, like he's really crouching down, like he's about to change directions. So if you can get your hands under that one, that's going to be a great tool. So excellent size up. In addition to that, he's got tray escape, which means he can left stick cancel very easily, right? He's going to be good at this explosion and the left stick cancel out of the explosion, right? So he's good. So if you're a left stick cancel person and you've acquired that skill set, he's going to be very, very good at that skill set. And of course, the tray allows him to get into that left stick cancel and he can Jamal Murray out of it and get to that shot. And you see there, even though it's not the top of the top elite speed, is definitely usable. And with this John Wall snatchback, he's also got the ability to get out of that situation in different ways, right? So he doesn't even have to just say L2 cancel into the Jamal Murray, but then he can continue and operate from there, right? And get to his shot creation. So just really, really excellent top tier options once he starts dribbling the basketball. So he's elite in that respect. So there's another thing about the Trey escape that I wanted to highlight, and that's this escape cancel right here, right? This adds another ability to retreat. So we talk about the cardinal dribbling directions. This gives him a way to retreat, and this is important because if you don't have the Kyrie Irving dribble style, when you do a snatchback like this, you aren't able to explode out of it 100%. Now, one thing that helps you explode out of it, and here we're going to get to one of the weaknesses, is your hesitation, right? Because if you can hezi escape burst, you can get out of it very quickly and very explosively. But because he has the Larry Bird moving hesitation, it's not impossible, but it's much harder to explode out of that the way you want to, right? It's much more difficult. It is doable, but it's something you have to train on. We'll get to the hezi more later. But with this snatchback here, you can get out of that just a little bit quicker, right? With that Michael Jordan dribble style, if you do this kind of escape. You see how quickly I'm able to get out of there? I don't get that slow animation. When you do this snatchback, there's a slow, you see that animation right there? You want to avoid that at all costs because it just kills your possession, right? So if you want to retreat and you're just trying to snatch back from a comboing standpoint, you can do this, escape snatch instead. And to explain the escape snatch, I'm just doing an escape, right? Like normal. And then I'm just pressing down on the left stick as I do the escape. And this is something, so keep in mind, everything we talk about here, you can mix in together, right? All of his dribbles blend together very, very well, which is one of the things that makes the card so good. So when I said he's not the top of the top, I'm being very clear about this. I don't think he's as good as Dr. J, Ron Artest, and of course not Glenn Rice, who's the best in the game. But after that, I think Middleton is in any discussion after that at this point in the game. And for that reason, I think a lot of people, unless you've been really lucky and you grinded for Glenn Rice, you're in a situation where this might be your best two guard, right? So give Khris Middleton a look, and we're going to keep going through his SIGs as well. So this combo dribble, nice combo dribble, good for comboing. So we see how that blends there with the snatch, and we see how it blends there with that snatch I just taught you guys, right? With the escape snatch. So now you can, and then you look at it with the De'Aaron Fox size up, and you already start to see, man, this guy, like, he just can kind of do anything he wants. And of course, with the Michael Jordan dribble style, you're pretty explosive coming out of all of this stuff, right? So you got to just love that across the board for this card. Very explosive, can move in any direction, and he has a lot of options to change up the rhythm of his dribbles and the look of his dribbles in terms of what he's trying to get to. And then once he gets moving, he's got that Trey fade, he can stick dunk, he's got great normal hop jumper. So he really has all of the options you want in a primary shot creator, except for that L2 cancel into that Jamal Murray shot. And again, not that he doesn't have it, he just doesn't have it at the elite level. All right, moving forward. So those are his combo. That's his combo move. So I wanted to talk about his, what do we call this? The breakdown moves, right? He has this breakdown move. I actually love this mixed in with the Jamal Murray and, spoiler alert, John Wall moving step back, right? So you see this here where he launches and that ball extends, that part, that dribble right there. So if you do the Jamal Murray out of that, just look at how that looks movement-wise, right? So a lot of motion, a lot of a horizontal mobility there out of that move. So now you're talking about a situation where, he can really, really just chop an opponent up with his tool set. And I love that about the card. His regular one isn't great. It's just that little, kind of same side in and out, kind of soft whoopty kind of thing. I don't know if we ever named that move. I used to do that move in the park back when I used to play. But I don't know if we ever named that one. But anyway, so John Wall hop back and snatch back, pretty run of the mill, elite, best in the game, right? It's going to allow you to disengage. So now let's go ahead and talk about this moving hesitation, this Larry Bird moving hesitation. So this is I'm going to call it a mid-tier hesitation. And I'm going to call it mid-tier because really, you've only got three kinds of hesitation in 2K, at least as far as I know. You've got the really good ones that you can easily burst out of. You've got the really bad ones that it's very, very difficult to burst out of. And then you've got this one where it's kind of, it's a little difficult to burst out of, but you can do it every time as long as you practice it. So the way you burst out of this is basically, and you can see my right stick here, you're kind of getting to that dribble. And when he starts to do that kind of thing, you can burst out of that, right? So you can burst out of that. So his head like does a little shimmy, and you see very explosive out of it. The problem is doing that out of all of these dribbles is much harder, right? So if you time it, you can do it, and it is something that I recommend you work on. You just have to give that little delay before you explode, and you're good to go. So it's not like it's something he can't do. I haven't been practicing with this card very much. I don't use that hesitation very much. You see here, I'm about like a 60 to 70%, success rate already. So if you just put in a few minutes on that hesitation, if you're not good enough at it already, you'll get it down and you'll be able to get the most out of this card. But I do think that explosion is very important to get the most out of the card. So total package, right? Michael Jordan dribble style, De'Aaron Fox size up mixed with that Michael Jordan dribble style. John Wall hot back, John Wall snatch back, good combo moves, right? Great aggressive cross that you can combo out of and just do everything with. And then also you have the De'Aaron Fox cancel dribbles where you can do the De'Aaron Fox size up and you can press down on the stick to cancel out of those as well, just to change your rhythm. Now, this is something that I think is more effective in triple threat co-op where you're playing against a human most likely. That's not really useful against a computer, but against a human, any kind of left-right spam is going to be more effective to get them moving before you attack them, right? So triple threat co-op, I think this card's absolutely elite. Triple threat, he's elite. I think when it comes to unlimited, I think he's very good. I don't think he's elite. I think he's in that third tier before those three cards I mentioned. Listen, if guys want to put Ricky Davis or somebody in that group, feel free. But I'm talking about as a shot creator, two-way card, defender, the whole total package. For me, it's Ron Artest and Dr. J in that number two spot. I don't have anybody sharing that. I do think there are other cards that you could say in other roles are as good. So maybe because of Kawhi's defense, you like him a lot. Sure, put him in there. But in terms of that pure like primary ball handler, I think Khris Middleton is in the discussion in that next group being at the top of the heap. All right, so before we get out of here, let's talk about his stats and badges real quick. So I'm going to scroll these down screen while basically just talking about what stats and badges he has and what shoes I would possibly give him, that kind of thing. So stats and badges, he's extraordinarily complete. He doesn't need any badges. All he doesn't have is aerial wizard and post playmaker. Every other badge in the game, and big driver, every other badge in the game he has. I don't really see a point in giving him either one of those badges because when you have a high enough driving dunk rating, you're going to hit, driving dunks anyway. But if you want to give him aerial wizard, feel free. All right. So looking at his badges, I'll just have them on screen, but so you can see which ones are Hall of Fame and which ones are gold. But again, he has pretty much everything he needs. The guy's an absolute beast, absolute monster. So let's talk about these stats and what shoe I would give him. So he's a 93 speed. So I definitely give him a speed shoe. He has a 90 strength. I don't think he needs a strength shoe. Maybe a +3 just to throw it on there because strength does help you so much with defense, right? If you have a whole lot of +4 strengths, then feel free. I don't think that's necessary. I do think the one attribute that's necessary is that driving dunk. His driving dunk is only an 85. He gets a good enough meter to use, but I would definitely say you want to 100% extend that meter with a +4 driving dunk if you have it. If you have a +3, then settle for that. But I want that meter as big as possible. He's also an excellent rebounder, got the crazy rebounding. Defensively, I don't think he needs anything defensively. He's got a 95 steal, 94 interior, 96 lateral. I mean, this guy's absolutely juiced on the defensive end. And again, the only gold badges he has on defense: ankle braces, box out beast, chase down, pick dodger, and pogo stick. Everything else is Hall of Fame. So when you talk about a two-way card, good size on him, 6'7", 6'10" wingspan, good frame as you see here. In fact, let's go ahead and do our little size comparison before we shut this down. So we'll look at him next to Julius Erving. Julius is going to be lined a little bit with the afro, right? And then we'll look at that versus, say, Kirilenko, who's a taller card. And then we'll look at that versus, we'll go back to Middleton so you can see him. And then we will also substitute in, who's another good one to look at? Let's look at Ron Artest. We'll look at the size comparison to Ron Artest as well. All right. And we can just go to the replay and let's look at these size dimensions side by side with the rest of these cards, right? So here we have Ron. and there's Khris. So you see Ron and Khris actually very similar in size, very similar, right? Khris looks a little taller, but Ron is much more stocky, which again, another reason I would have Ron better. Ron's wingspan looks significantly larger. I don't know what it says, but you can just see those arms, go-go gadget arms extending there for Ron. So, you know, bully ball Ron with a big frame there, but height-wise, Khris Middleton looks exactly the same size. You see Kirilenko significantly bigger if you're trying to run him into 3. I don't know if this size difference is a big deal, but this is one of those reasons that Kirilenko plays, because I'd much rather have this frame on the floor defensively at the 3. So if you have a card like a Kirilenko, Jonathan Isaac, one of those cards, maybe you want to be using that. And then we see him here with Dr. J, side by side. Again, exactly the same size as your Dr. J pretty much. His wingspan might be a little on the shorter side, but yeah. So he compares very favorably to the other cards at his position. Obviously, Ron is just a monster, so he's going to be stockier. Ooh, there's one more thing I almost forgot. I almost forgot to tell you guys this. So the reason the size up is so important. So normally, I tell you guys, if you want to do the Jamal Murray spam, double behind the back, what you got to do is you just do it twice in a row, right? So you just go 7-7, 5-5. Now, he can't do that. What you would have to do is you would have to go, say this would be 5, and then you'd have to go up diagonal, and then go 7, right? Which is much harder. So it is possible, right? It is possible to do that spam that way, but it's a much more difficult task. However, if you are trying to dance behind screens because of that the De'Aaron Fox size up, he has it anyway. De'Aaron Fox has it built in. So if you want to be behind screens and sell which side you're going over and go back and forth and use that kind of tactic, he can do it without needing to go back and forth. Anybody with the De'Aaron Fox and the Jamal Murray has access to this technique. So there you go. That De'Aaron Fox comes in again. Again, one of the best size ups in the game. Explodes super well out of the Michael Jordan dribble style. And let me say this last thing before I shut down this video. Khris Middleton has a lot of sauce that if you dig deep into the card, he's really, really, really good. But I think this is definitely the kind of card where you reach deep into his bag and you look at a whole bunch of things. I can't show you guys everything in like a short video like this, but just look at each of the parts of the video that I'm showing you and use your imaginations and you know, experiment with the card, have some fun, and really get into it. I do think he's a very, very good card. If I was rating him, like I said, he'd be in the probably B tier or lower A tier of cards. S tier would be Glenn Rice, Dr. J, and Ron Artest, but Glenn Rice is really in his own tier. And Khris Middleton would be whoever you have behind Dr. J and Ron. I think he's in that group, and I think he can play for a lot of people, especially since those cards are pure luck and none of them have become available by any other means yet. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope this helped you out, made your decision on whether or not you want to grind for Khris Middleton. Pretty easy grind. Some good cards along the way, which you will also see here on this channel. Please like and subscribe. Thank you guys for all the support, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.